This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, it is 6:04 p.m. and this is the Easthampton Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. Hi, everybody. Is there anybody here for public speak for something that's not on the agenda? All right, seeing no one. We are going to jump into a whole bunch of meeting minutes that we have not approved. Well, we might have approved the September ones,
I
but
did. I have it in the minutes from October.
we're gonna do it again, just so that I can give these all to the city clerk tomorrow. I think we have to do them individually because I don't have a consent agenda that packages them up together. Hi, Lindsay. So we're gonna go one by one. I'm gonna do September again, even though I think we already did them. So can I have a motion to approve the September 23rd, 2025 meeting notes?
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I have a motion to approve October 23rd, 2025.
I can make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve December 4th, 2025?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve January 22nd, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is just really good.
Yeah, we are good at this. Can I have a motion to approve January 28th, 2026?
Yep.
Second. Sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And February 26th, 2026.
I wasn't at that one, so I don't.
Motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Aye.
Okay. And March 5th, 2026. This was our last
At that one.
joint Aquifer meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We are now caught up in our meeting notes to send to the city clerk's office, and I will send them off to her tomorrow.
Sorry, I'm late. I was at the tenants meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Sean is up there and he's speaking to tenants.
Oh, great. From Abundant Housing.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
Lindsay, did you motion to approve the February ones?
Yes, I
And then
did.
Shira seconded? Okay. Just for the minutes.
All right, next up on the agenda, Lawrence, are you by any chance here with coming with Heather to talk about town lodging?
I am.
Yay. Okay, is Heather coming? Should we wait for her coming? Should we wait for her?
Oh, she's not in the room?
No,
Not yet.
no.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. She is coming, yes. Let me raise her. I'm sorry. I thought I saw her sitting in the room.
Okay.
That's right. All right, I will get a hold of her, let you know.
All right, we'll wait one sec.
Lauren, for our minutes, what group are you with?
Renewal.
I am with the Farmer Veteran Coalition
Thank you.
and Heather is with
you.
Renewal Initiatives, yes.
What's it called? Renewal initiatives, right.
While we're waiting, I could hop ahead to the committee vacancy section of the agenda, which is short, which is to say we have 2 vacancies. Kayam did resign, which we expected would happen. He's still planning to come as a guest and still work with us on the zoning recommendations. But
He's
decided
also
to,
upstairs right now.
yeah, and he's got a lot on his plate, so he decided to step down. And Eileen also stepped down, who was our newest member, but she's also very, very active in the tenants union. And I think she just needed to focus on one thing. So we have 2 vacancies. So just, keep that in mind as you're thinking about people that you might come across.
Tom Brown would be interested since he's retired from the bank.
Is he not on EDIC anymore?
I don't,
And he's on the senior center building committee.
okay,
He's the vice chair.
maybe too busy.
Yeah.
But, because it's good to think about categories.
Lawrence.
Yes. So I got a hold of her. She will be on in 3 minutes. She thought 6:30 instead of 6 o'clock. So she's jumping right on.
Excellent.
Sorry about that. Is there anything you'd like me?
Do you want to start or do you want to wait for Heather?
I sort of I sort of come in a couple of slides into her introduction, but I can introduce myself in the meantime.
Sure.
I'm with the Farmer Veteran Coalition. I am coming to you right now from the state of Montana, but the Farmer Veteran Coalition is headquartered out of Texas. We are spread all over the United States. We have 26 chapters, each chapter in a different state. We have another 12 chapters in formation, and our mission is to aid veterans in their transition and service members in their transition from service into their communities, and supporting them and aiding them in their pursuit of farming, ranching, and agricultural endeavors. But one of the things that we've found in our studies and the different work that we do, that the quote holds true: without the veteran, there is no community, and without the community, there is no veteran. So our goal is to always have a supporting role in our communities, being impactful and supportive. In the Farmer Veteran Coalition, our focus is one of agroecology, which covers conservation, agriculture, regenerative agriculture, organic agriculture, and climate smart agriculture. So sustainable farming, our concept is the whole farm concept. And as Heather comes on to introduce the project, that's a little bit about who I am. I'm a U.S. Army veteran as well. And yeah, I exited service 35 years ago, just after the Gulf War.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Hi there. Sorry to join late. I'm Heather, and apologies, got my schedule mixed up, and I'm just getting out of the long commute back from Boston. I'm sorry I can't be there in person.
No problem. We're glad to have you.
So I missed the beginning. Are we up? Did it go that quick? The
You're
public speak and all the minutes and everything?
Yeah, there was nobody here for public speak, so we could
Okay.
So I just introduced myself, Heather, and said that you would have our presentation. So
Wonderful. Thank
Someone
you.
in person still has their microphone on, so we're still getting a big echo over here.
I think, Lawrence, it might be you.
It might be.
When you take yourself off mute, for some reason, it's echoing, I think.
like now,
Try it.
is there echo now?
Try it. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It might be my hearing aids as well, so giving feedback. So I'll mute myself.
We just won't talk over him. Yeah.
Thanks, Lawrence. Good evening. Sorry to rush in like this. And again, I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person because I was in Boston today and just getting back from an event there. But wanted to take the opportunity to introduce ourselves. I'm told that, and I saw in the video catalog and minutes that you all had been told about the project that we've been working on for a long time now. But I have an update for you all. I think Allison gave you a great update last year. I think it was July timeframe, if I saw it correctly, the last time you heard about it. A lot has transpired, but also we can speak to maybe details that Allison couldn't. Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership has always been on our mind. We've been working on this time, of course, because this is an affordable housing project. So apologies, we haven't come around yet, but we had a lot of work that we wanted to do in the ground and making sure that our vision for the project could come to be before we sat down with you all. But I think that time is right. And so if it's okay, I have some slides to share.
I just made you a co-host, so you should be allowed to share.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's see if this works. So how am I, Jenna, on time? Do I need to decide?
You're great.
Cognizant in terms of, so we have about, I said preview about 20 slides here. I can go as fast or as slow as you all want. Welcome questions in between, since you already have some idea of the project idea. I'm happy to make this a conversation too. Our main goal is, just to state it out front, is hoping to get your all's partnership, unintended, and support of the vision. But more importantly, the RFP is not out yet for this property. And we are doing what we can to make sure that we get the input of the full community and the right stakeholders ahead of time so that they can be incorporated into our proposal. So that's also what we're seeking as well, to make sure that we're really thinking about everyone's hopes from the community, because it will continue to be a community property for public benefit even after disposal. So you all see my slides okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So what I'll go through tonight with you is just introduce ourselves, our organizations, but then importantly, just try to hopefully give you a vision of what we see in our minds and try our best to put on the paper of what we see happening at the project and a little bit of details. We don't really hone in, by the way, on the vision on just the affordable housing. This is really a comprehensive, holistic project, but we can stay deeper on the affordable housing piece if you will choose or desire. The impact, of course, and what we're hoping to see through bringing this project about. And then just some recap of what we've been doing over the last year. Actually, it's 2 years for Lawrence and how long he's been working on this project opportunity, and then the timeline going backward as well as the timeline going forward is what we'll speak to. So who we are. Sorry, my computer is slow in transitioning slides. Really 3 organizations that are just kind of on paper, the partnership, but as I mentioned, for us, it's really a whole project together. The first is Farmer Veteran Coalition, and I'm going to, Lawrence will talk more about Farmer Veteran Coalition in a couple of slides here, but in terms of roles and responsibility, because it gets a little bit confusing and you hear all these names of different nonprofits and entities in the project. Farmer Veteran Coalition would be the provider. So they would be running the training, the farming operations. They're a national nonprofit, as you'll hear about, with expertise and, importantly, regenerative agriculture is what we hope to bring to the town farm. And so they will be leading that, as well as all the veteran services. I should stop. I probably haven't even talked about what we're doing yet, but I think, can I get a show of hands in the room? Does everyone remember what the general concept was that we had? Yeah. Anyone need a 2-minute recap? Okay, we'll get more into the details, but yeah. Veteran training for regenerative agriculture. Maybe Lawrence gave it before I jumped on. And Farmer Veteran Coalition is the lead to bring all of that training about. Renewal Initiatives is a new nonprofit that we've started up to develop this project. So like a project developer, I kind of like to say kind of like a scrappy CDC, a startup CDC, if you will. We don't have aims necessarily to be a large ongoing CDC. We really started up for this project. I'm the principal of Renewal Initiatives. My background is about 20 years in clean energy. But through that clean energy work, I did a lot with municipalities. I did a lot with state agencies, including mass development, and serving about a third of the housing authorities and some CDCs across the state. So I have a background of serving, at least in the energy realm, affordable housing, and understand things that it takes to bring a project about and have the network and resources there. So Renewal Initiatives is the lead on the project development, and will ultimately be the property owner, leasing back to Farmer Veteran Coalition for the operations. I'm based here, by the way, in central Massachusetts, is where I'm physically located. I go all around the state and in the region as well. But also, so I operate as the feet on the ground in the community as well, with Farmer Veteran Coalition being a national organization. With that, though, Farmer Veteran Coalition will be bringing in more feet on the ground of the local chapter you'll hear from Lawrence about. AHP sometimes gets thrown out. You might have heard this last year, I think, Advocates for Human Potential. They ended up becoming the connection and the impact investor in this. They are a for-profit that does consulting services to state agencies around health and human services. So they help states manage large amounts of dollars for homelessness and mental health, and they have some fantastic behavioral health programming that they developed called RAP, and that was the link, because Farmer Veteran Coalition uses RAP for their behavioral health in this programming that we're talking about for veterans. And so Farmer Veteran Coalition and Lawrence went knocking on AHP's door, because they're headquartered here, knowing they're a very mission-minded organization. And they're kind of a secret in how we're able to put this project together, where most affordable housing CDCs, Valley CDC, I think you might know the story there, was not able to. We're able to do it because we have this impact investor in AHP, just really interested in bringing the project about for its great mission, even though they don't have an ongoing role, because that's not what they do for their operations. With that, I will pass it over to Lawrence, give you all just a flavor of what Farmer Veteran Coalition is. You're on mute, Lawrence. And hopefully we'll resolve. If we don't resolve, we'll see.
Is it better? Is the sound better now? Yeah. Okay. So if Heather, if you could help me out, I'm not, for some reason, not seeing your slides on my screen. Which slide do you have up?
Your Farmer Veteran Coalition mission and the state map of the chapters and who you serve.
Okay, so Farmer Veteran Coalition, as Heather alluded to, and I did a little bit earlier, is a national organization. We're 17 years old. We are we've exceeded the membership number of 57,000 members throughout the United States, and it is our membership population also includes about an eighth of our membership as associate members. So you don't have to be a veteran to be a member of the Farmer Veteran Coalition, and that's very important because we have volunteers throughout the nation that participate and are in the communities in which we serve. And our mission is to, as I alluded to earlier, is to support veterans in their transition from the armed forces back into their communities, but specifically into farming and ranching or ag careers. And we do that in a holistic way, because we don't just look at the activity the veteran engages in, but we also focus on the veteran themselves and their challenges. I just happen to be one of those veterans as well that is a little bit longer in the tooth than most at 63 years old. And I am just a huge proponent of this type of programming. The Farmer Veteran Coalition has a number of different activities that we engage in. But this activity, Heather, I don't know if there's
I
another
just
slide.
transferred to the next slide. Yeah, the market access support and resources and training, Lawrence, the summary of all the programming for.
Okay, great. And the training aspect, as Heather alluded to, is what our goal is to implement or execute a program we have called HIVE. It's the Holistic Impactful Veteran Engagement. Anytime you see that, we have it in a scalable model that helps us to as I said, address the veterans' needs we have 15 focus points in that holistic approach. In the veteran themselves, we look at their helping them reestablish and sustain their sense of self-worth, their sense of purpose, their sense of community, and also address their sense of shame and diminished viability, mobility, cognitive, and physical, that is. In doing that.
You for a second. Sorry, Lawrence, before you get too much into Hive, because I've got that later in the details of
okay.
in Easthampton. Right. This is also talking about FVC tourism, FVC cares, homegrown by heroes, and all the fellowship fund, et cetera.
Yes. So our other programming, as Heather alluded to, right now we're in our big phase of what we do for the veterans directly. We've had over 740 veterans apply for our fellowship fund, in which we provide veterans with small grants up to $5,000 each, and we try to have an award rate of 1 out of 3 applicants, depending upon the quality of their application. And what we're doing is conditioning them for the process of, number one, entering into a civilian setting and preparing the business plans and all of the rigors of a civilian setting, and helping them with a small startup on their farms. We have a gear program, which is sponsored by Kubota, in which we provide and give away 5 tractors each year to veterans, which is huge for small operations. And then our programming for agritourism and event activities on our farms with a holistic approach of the focus of recovery and resilience. Does that cover that slide?
Thanks, Lawrence. Yeah, I think so. Just to hopefully it gives you a little snippet of all that Farmer Veteran Coalition does outside of this HIVE training that we'll talk about in more detail. So probably that I would guess you all are most interested in is the lodging housing component here. I think you all know the history. Can I get a show of hands? Yep. You all probably know it better than I do. It's a lot of some of the background work that Valley CDC did was great to really get the story and the history. And I think one of our visions, by the way, is to commemorate this history and really put this as a place of a memorial, but honoring that history. But way back in the day, right, this was affordable housing, was connecting people with land to provide sustenance. And that went out of practice probably around the 1950s or so. I think the land started to be disconnected from the housing. There's a couple of movements now that are starting to put that in vogue because food security, healthy food, local food is not reachable and accessible by the low to moderate income community as it should be. And as we're firm believers in a movement towards. So, one of the things that we love about this property and why Farmer Veteran Coalition is so interested in this being their flagship for regenerative agriculture is because of this history and honoring and putting back in place that heritage. So I'll say, I think I'll move on from there, but hopefully you hear our passion for, even though we're not Easthampton residents ourselves, what this story is and why it fits so well into that vision. Today, and maybe you all have seen this as well, coming out of since 2020 and the capital needs assessment that the city did was I think the 1.5 million was A, pre-COVID, B, also just talking about how to get it back to livable standard, not actually maybe what we would consider livable and honoring someone who lived there. Valley CDC came in and they wanted to expand because that's how affordable housing economics work. Build more buildings was a cost of greater than 17 million. And also I'll just say, I think in traditional affordable housing, we have an affordable housing crisis, as you all know, and how much it costs. So I think that's part of it, and how we're trying to think about doing things a little bit differently because we can in the nature of our project. But this is what it looks like today, and it's we've been on site many times, and it's just you can see the beauty that's underneath what is there, but it's got a long ways to go, of course. So our current plan, we'll talk more about the economics a little bit later, but 7 million is what we have for just the lodging piece itself. There's a lot more investment in the training and farming and other buildings, but and that's just focused on the existing lodging and not trying to expand into other buildings. Because that's not what the community, the neighborhood wants, as you all might have heard. But also importantly, in keeping up the historic preservation, but it's it makes it quite challenging to build that model there. Oh, the other piece, importantly, sorry, I would say is it's not clear that Valley CDC walked away, but the zoning could be a challenge for even trying to build other housing units outside of the existing building. This is the overhead to show you what kind of property that we're talking about. It's 56 acres. That it's about 30 that is farmland, open field, and the rest is beautiful forested and wetlands and the stream that runs through it, right adjacent to the community gardens. We are speaking to them because we see great synergies being right next to them and this interactive component with the community there. The building itself is about 5,600 square feet. There's a garage, a workshop out back that we also envision as a great resource for not just the training, but also the community. I mean, we really envision, we'll talk more about this being a community hub. So we're thinking about that in terms of designing the spaces and the lodging itself, community spaces, but also an accessory building of the workshop, as well as rebuilding a barn that was there back in history. Sorry, I'm going to say on this is probably jumping ahead a little bit to our plans, but it does have city water and sewer. But I also want to say it's the electrical service looks, so far, we think it will be sufficient, but it will be tested. I'll throw out here that we are looking to build and we're required to look to build because of the Easthampton's very forward progress on the specialized energy code that we are planning on being all electric. Currently, they do have a fuel-based backup generation, and as we go into the detailed design, we'll think about what's going to be needed for resiliency there. But our plan is to be all electric, number one, to be as energy efficient as possible, and to the extent that we can access some other dollars from mass housing and climate ready housing, et cetera, to be as net zero as possible. I'll say that's you'll hear my energy background and advocacy coming out throughout that we'll do as much as we can. So thanks to AI, don't hold us to this, but we like to just try to put a vision to it. And so this is what we came up with, and just trying to get people a sense of this is a beautiful property and nothing needs to be changed, right? It doesn't need new buildings. It just needs to be able to be brought back into its historic life, and it will be a beautiful property as it is. We've done a little bit of course homework on pre-design because it's crucial to the economics. So these are even less than draft plans, I'll call it, but we have done some design work so that we can be assured what we can actually be able to contain. And what we're planning on is moving from single room occupancy to studio 1 and 2 bedroom units for the participants, for the residents. And that requires us, of course, to decrease the number of residents there from 23 to 15 to 17 is what we think we'll be able to squeeze out. But further detailed design, of course, we'll confirm that. Okay. That might be my last slide on the housing. And I feel like maybe I don't have enough slides, but I should stop there and pause before we get into the model of what we plan and operations there with the training and such. I'm sorry, I do have one slide because really for us, it's integrated into that model. But let me just pause and say, does anything start to come about for questions and you know, specifically on the housing piece that you all would want to throw out? What are we thinking about in terms of the housing, given your also role, of course, in the city?
Yeah, I mean, Heather, maybe you're going to cover this, but I guess I'm curious about the rents for the house. Like, how are you determining the rents? What kind of, does it sound like you're going to need to, are you planning to use a state subsidy, or sort of how are you thinking about like the long-term operations in terms of what the rents will be?
And how many residents? I don't know if you already said that. How many residents?
Studio.
Oh, studio and two. Yeah.
Yeah, so just because I want to be cognizant of your time, I'm going to skip through a couple slides that can help me answer the housing. I'm sorry I don't have it in the right order for you all. I want to get you excited about the vision, but I also want to be cognizant that you probably have other agenda items too. So Lawrence, apologies. I'm going to skip over this. We'll get these slides to you so you can also go. There's a video around the Hive program and what it's looked like today for Farmers Veteran Coalition, so you can get inspired and cry at how these veterans are transformed as I did. But let me jump into just maybe two slides I have. They don't have all the answers in detail that you all are asking, but we can answer them. So on the, I think I already spoke to this and what we were talking about redeveloping into the 15 to 17 units. This will be helpful so you can understand the economics. Because of the size of the property, those tax credits do not include at this point low-income housing tax credits. So that helps us erase some of the costs of the project, right? Because there's often ag costs when you access those, but we are including historical preservation tax credits and how we're able to make that work. But then there's a lump of other funding, and we're really looking towards the city itself, of course, because this is highly in the goals of the Community Preservation Act. Before it was with the Community Development Block Grant Valley CDC was discussing. Those have already been committed to a lot of great sewer work. So now we're turning to the CPA and have had some conversations, but of course that is up in the air, and we hope for your all's help and support because it's one of the primary goals of CPA funds is for affordable housing. There's another bucket of mass development underutilized property in our plan, and hoping to bring that about. It sits squarely in their goals as well, and we think what is achievable based on the number of dollars that they give out. Typically, but it is a competitive grant. So again, we're contingent at that. What's not in here is mass housing dollars, other low-income dollars, which could be a possibility. In early conversations with EOHLC, there's programs that they have. They just launched. I don't know if they had announced yet, but they're definitely way in the weeds of reviewing applications for their supportive services NOFA from December. So there is this bucket that we think we'll be able to qualify for outside of tax credits called supportive services. And the HIF, HTF, you all probably know these funds better than I do, but some of those funds is what they pointed us to that we think might be available in the future. But we're not counting on them right now because it's unclear. But the stipulations of those programs, and importantly, the affordable housing restriction on this project requires us to be in compliance. Right now, the affordable housing restriction is up to 80% AMI. And because of the use that we're talking about and workforce development, we're not looking at the unhoused and being emergency shelter as it is today. We're aiming to keep that the same at 80% AMI. In our discussions with EOHLC, who ultimately has to approve our plan and our project. So that's the plan, and it's based off of 15 to 17 units, fair market rents for the area for up to 80% AMI. Similar to some of the programs we also might tap into to subsidize those rents would be, as you all probably know again better than I, so forgive me, but MVRP as well as VASH at the federal level for veterans. But those are TBD. The main way that we are projecting to be able to help veterans who are going to be unemployed, by the way. This is a 2-year program. We didn't talk about that, but it's a 2-year program of workforce development and training, leveraging their VA benefits through a program called VRNE that provides both dollars for the training and that supports our training programming, as well as dollars for lodging. And that would be supporting the veterans to be able to pay that rent.
Okay.
Great question, and sorry I don't have slides on this because we've got kind of our generic set of slides and I haven't quite built
that's helpful.
for affordable housing. Sure.
The specific housings are they 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? Like, what is the breakdown?
A mix. I want to say I think it's 4 2-bedroom. So being again a training center, we would expect veterans. There are some amount of veterans who do come with families. But we'll be limited on that because of space, right? We can only do so much in terms of economically making the whole model work. So we have 4 2-bedrooms, I believe it is, and the rest are mixed between 1 bedroom and studio. But with every unit being, up to today's par of livable with in-house kitchen and unit kitchen and bath. Common laundry, except for the units that will be accessible. So we're planning on the first floor being accessible, not second and third floor. It's not required by code. It will cost a pretty penny to try to get, the elevator in there and eat at space. So for now, our accessibility is going to be limited to the first floor. The basement actually is accessible. It is that ground floor on one side, but we're planning on that common laundry in the ground and the basement level not being needed for anyone with needs to be able to have to access. We'll put that in unit. That's our goal. So shall I go back to the programming and let Lawrence continue the story on that? Okay.
Yes, please.
Got a sneak peek of what we're talking about here. But now, Lawrence, you've got your Hive program slide. We have a video in here, as I mentioned, it's a 7-minute video, so we won't spend the time watching it, but we'll send these out. I highly recommend going back and seeing just the power the program has. Also, Lawrence, we have the agroecology overview on this slide.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Our programming, as I alluded to earlier, is the holistic, impactful veteran engagement. And what it does is incorporates the Wellness Recovery Action Plan as our foundational tool of behavioral health that provides resilience and recovery under the precipice that every veteran's transition is lifelong. And therefore, a tool is required to be able to navigate significant life events. I alluded to earlier as well that we have 15 focus areas. I talked about the first 5. The second 5 are the 5 key concepts that we guide and act on, that having to be what is it we hope to achieve in doing that and engaging in the activities we engage in. What's our personal responsibility in those as the second focus? If we don't know, we must educate ourselves on what we don't know to be able to achieve what we hope to achieve. And then if we find that we lack the capacity, our focus is then to self-advocate and ask for support from our families, our circle, or our community. And then in our training, we talked about the agroecology, but it all starts with the soil. And our 5 principles of soil health are the foundation of that, in which we focus on soil armor, minimizing soil disturbance, plant diversity, continual live plant roots, and integrating livestock. In the training, and Heather alluded to it, our focus is in 6 different areas for our curriculum that we are developing for approval by the vocational rehabilitation and or readiness and employment. Is number one is farming, and we have approximately 15 focus areas in farming that we look at, from those that I mentioned in agroecology, and then using the concept of the whole farm program focus, which incorporates regenerative ag, conservation stewardship, urban ag, small producer practice, large and commercial ag practice, farm and ranch safety, farm and ranch disaster preparedness, farm and ranch acquisitioning, and farm and ranch succession planning. That's the farming part. And then we have 5 other areas that we focus on: ranching, ag careers, veterans earned benefits access, and our behavioral health, which is a peer-oriented paraprofessional based orientation, and then of course marketing and networking. That is our program focus. And then the other part of it is, and I don't know if you mentioned this, Heather, but we don't want our environment to be a sterile one. So of those 17 to 15 units, we hope that a 2 to 3 units will be that of someone of a non-veteran setting, because the veterans in their transition must learn to navigate civilian settings and engagement with civilians and the civilian mindset. And there's a lot that we can learn in the translation of our skill sets into a civilian setting, and especially with our focus on community impact and volunteerism. That's what our program, how our program is put together. And then, I imagine there's a lot of questions about how and, how do you come about this? How do you put it together? So I guess not being able to imagine the questions that you have, I would be open to any and every question that you have. And then I'll just speak more to our team and what they provide to these folks. So on our team, we have a veteran service officer accredited by the Office of General Counsel from the Veterans Administration, and that's why we have complete and comprehensive understanding of how to access earned benefits. We also have a special government employee who is an advisor to the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, and that was the foundational part that afforded the capacity for funding of farm apprenticeship starting for the first time in 2022. And then all of the other areas of focus. We just have a very unique and a very comprehensive team to be able to bring these different service areas and specialties to our institution.
Yeah, hopefully you all are hearing and know well, providing housing alone isn't sufficient. And supportive services is a thing, right, because of the need, but this takes it a level further, what we think. And I want to hone in on these numbers aren't matching Lawrence's, so we got to update his curriculum is being developed as we speak as well. But I want to hone in on the community engagement piece because it is really integral to the model, and I think what we think is successful for being tied together with the housing and support. Both for the veteran as well as for the community. We see the two in the campus there being a hub of community activity, that we have the community coming on, engaging with veterans, whether there be a couple that are living there or more importantly, just all those that might be interested in agriculture, and not just agriculture, but the wellness activities and things functions that will be happening, and we're trying to build out the space with that in mind and having that be a center. But also core to the curriculum for the veterans and their healing is going out into the community and having impact. Veterans live to serve, and one of the reasons this has come about, and I really credit Farmer Veteran Coalition and Lauren specifically. So it has been his vision and what he's created over the last decade, is making wellness and behavioral health integral to farming training. Because veterans live to serve, and once they come out, you probably have read and heard or know a veteran where the transition just is not easy. Second to farmer suicide rates or veteran suicide rates, or I might have that flip flop, Lawrence, apologies. But and putting these two things together with full support in a holistic programming that includes engagement with community, that includes wellness, behavioral health, in addition to just giving housing, just giving training, is really what we think is important. We've already started some of that work too. Easthampton, as you well know, is just such a beautiful community to do this in, with so many interested in keeping farming alive, as we are trying to do here with the regenerative approach to it and having that next generation farm. Side by side with the community gardens. We spoke with bees last night. I can't believe there's a bees committee. We just realized that, and this is core to what regenerative agriculture is about having the ecosystem thrive. The Ag Committee is very active. I think they were speaking this week as well at the Ag Committee, how it's one of the most active Ag commissions, I should say, in the state. And then there's veteran organizations galore. The VSO is very tied in, as well as the other organizations as well are some of the most active in the state. So it's just we feel quite lucky and inspired by what the opportunity and the vision could be because of the community itself, Easthampton. I just wanted to underscore that. I think you all know well, like just again putting a roof over somebody's head isn't always the answer, and it really needs to be a full package.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I was just wondering, I was thinking about, I love the model, by the way, it's beautiful. And I worked in veteran homelessness for a long time. And so this kind of like housing is amazing. And I wish that it was fully affordable. I'm going to be transparent. But my bigger question is, I just wonder about like, what data do you have to sort of support that you will be able to like optimize occupancy and financial sustainability for this model, given like that there are quite a few sort of categories of qualifications people would have to meet. Presumably they have to be a veteran, presumably they have to meet income, they have to be within the income bandwidth or whatever, and they also have to be interested in the model. And I don't know if you have additional sort of requirements around, for example, like the discharge status or anything like that, that sometimes affects veterans who try to access specific types of housing. So just wondering, like, what data do you have to sort of support this?
Great question. Lawrence, I'm going to kick that over to you because they've built whole programming across a national organization around this. So I know they have the confidence of data that I've shown you. So I'll let you speak.
Yes, thank you for that question. That was the reason I sort of gave you a little bit of a snippet of what our team qualifications are. But what we've, more importantly, and you can, I'd refer you to just, Google the activity and the studies. I think Penn State has a study into our program concept. And I think I saw another one in, I don't want to say the other university now, but our what we're currently doing, the Hive was grant funded by the USDA, and we put in place a process where we've been collecting the data and baseline to establish the impact of what this does. So when you get the opportunity, the testimonials will speak to exactly why there's an interest into this, and the fact that we recruit from our pool of 57,000 members, not to mention that almost 200,000 service members exit service each year. So not everyone will qualify for this programming because if I'll share a story with you that'll help. I was homeless in 2009. I struggled in 2009. What we're looking for are individuals with the capacity to take personal responsibility for their actions, inactions, and consequences thereof, and engage in a structured process to be able to, number one, address their needs, but number two, my sound's going to change here again. I got to re-engage my hearing device. And then number two, be able to engage in the curriculum and successfully do what the program asks of them. And the biggest part is to pay it forward after engaging in the programming. Their ability to afford what we're doing is going to come directly from their earned benefits. Each and every veteran that has a successful separation from service, and we have a lot of experience in screening that process. Specifically, our case study has been on 43 veterans, but we've honed in on those 43, but it comes from approximately 200 that we've screened through this process, recruited into programming, and it would be our first apprenticeship, but we know through the Army the services skill bridge programming that there is a need for non-college apprenticeship-oriented practical employment and skill sets to engage. It is a challenge to translate our skill sets from service into a civilian setting, and that's what we have specialized in doing. I myself am a linguist. That was part of my training and service. You probably can't see that when you look at me, but I am a German linguist and I remain proficient in German. But all of these skill sets that we come with and we don't find a way to use, we're finding that farming, ranching, and ag careers is very attractive to them. And I came into this at the age of 50. I wish that I had mentorship that we're providing now at an earlier age. I exited service at the age of 29, and I flailed until 50. I was home. I told you I was homeless. So now we found the recipe. We have a team to do it, and this is the answer. If you look at us on our website, look for the Hive. It's under resources. There's an hour-long podcast.
Lawrence,
there.
let me just say, we'll send out. So rather than them searching these questions, we'll
okay. Yeah.
send things out after.
Okay.
But let me support you for a second. So hopefully you heard some data. And sorry, I didn't catch everyone's name, so I wanted to.
Yoshi,
ask the question.
today, I
Thank
totally
you.
see the data at the nation scale. I just wonder, like, locally, because I worked in Connecticut and like Hartford, where it's like, a dense urban population, and then you've got kind of like the rural homelessness out here. And it's just very different trying to like populate two different kinds of programs in two different types of environments and landscapes.
Right, if you're looking in that local environment, which is what affordable housing usually is, but the unique model here, right, is people will come sick and they may not stay in Massachusetts. We'll have the impact slide. We actually expect them to be going national, and Massachusetts being a hub of creating national impact in the agriculture realm is really cool.
Okay.
But hopefully you heard the big market. Yeah, 200,000, they've got 55,000 they serve. They've done a couple of programs. They've got feedback and data on those programs, not only that they're successful, that there's interest. And there's also probably about a half dozen veteran farming programs across the country, many of which Farmer Veteran Coalition partners with, and so knows that there's the demand. But last thing I'll say too is just the backup, which is there's an affordable housing restriction. If it doesn't work and we don't get demand, it will be utilized in that context as well. It has to be utilized in that context. And so if we're proven completely wrong, that no one comes to the door knocking and qualifies, then it will still be affordable housing. Hopefully that's the important part for you all too.
Heather, in the interest of time, is there like, I don't know if you have more slides or is there anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, I think we got the meat of it. I guess the big thing is the ask and what comes next, right? And
Yeah.
timeline that what we've done and what's coming. So the RFP is coming. The property committee, we hope, the property committee voted this week to forward it to the city council for approval. I believe, and I can confirm this with you, Janet, on the 22nd, city council is when they'll have the public speak. We would love for anyone in support to be able to come and speak at that forum.
22nd?
April 22nd, and I will confirm that because I just want to make sure that I got the notes from the property committee correct. But we'd also love if the partnership were so willing and we can send more information or ask more questions to confirm a letter of support, whether it be from individuals or the partnership itself. If this is a model that you envision fitting into our mutual goals and such, and it's supportive of it, we are looking for, and the RFP will look for community support. All right, we don't want to build something there that's not supported by the community. So that I think is next, and then of course we have other grant application, et cetera, after we go along the process that love that support for as well.
Okay. Great.
So, any last questions, concerns? I mean, really, this is our chance. Obviously, we'll be available via email and such if anyone wants to insert any feedback into our proposal or thoughts. But concerns after hearing it?
Jackie.
I just have a really quick question about whether anyone has talked to any of the neighbors yet at all.
That was my question as well.
Because this has been a tricky thing there.
Yeah, we have. We sat down with them in November. I should also say that we sat down with the local farmer that farms the land currently and for the last 40 years, the Chickwins, in October. And then we sat with the broader neighborhood there. Emmy McAuliffe is kind of our neighbor. She's the one that had the original phone call to Farmer Veteran Coalition, and she's been helping support. So we at that got broad neighbor support. They love that we're not expanding the building, so we're trying to keep to that promise, right? Not create something dense there. We are keeping to that promise, and but the concern was making sure that the local farmer is taken care of. And so in our plan, that has always been the case. That we envision the farmer still continuing access. Over time, we hope that farmer, with the student support, because farmers are limited on resources, but moves to type of practice for their farming that is in line with the school's regenerative agriculture practices. We just don't know what that will look like, but we envision hopefully even strengthening their farming operations over time.
Great.
Does that answer it?
Yeah, that feels much better because the last
Yeah, it was
project.
hard. You guys probably felt the brunt of the Valley CDC campaign. I still have the flyer from the neighbors on that one.
If I could speak to one piece of that is June 2024 was the ask to Farmer Veteran Coalition on our hotline if we could help find the solution for the Valley CDC challenge. And we came in and spoke with Mayor LaChapelle at that time and provided this idea of a solution. And then we've developed it over the past 2 years with input directly from members of the community there. So that's what we did in service, community building. And our thought is if we can do that in other countries, why can't we do it in ours and in our communities?
Great. Do you have a question, Donna?
Yeah, so one of the things that came up previously in other iterations of this was the issue of transportation. And I hear you talking about having this be a community hub. And I wonder if you've thought about how community members would get there. Where would they park? Is, public transportation? What is the need for that? And how do the community members might feel about that? If you've had those discussions.
I'll start and pass it over to Lawrence because he goes deep into transportation. But before you begin, Lawrence, just say that details still to be worked out in terms of what's feasible with the property, the layout, design, et cetera, and certainly the community hub of if we're going to have masses, if we're going to have an agritourism event, what does that look like and how that will be worked out for sure in terms of parking. But transportation for veterans, Lawrence is an expert, so I'll let him go.
Yes, that transportation piece is one that we want to tailor to the setting and the need. But we've been able to do it in other states, specifically in Montana, and work with not only community leadership, but state leadership to develop a model to serve those interests, if you will. So not only the veterans that are engaged in the project, but the community members who want to access the support that we provide, because we want to be able to get out to support community, and we want the community to be able to come in and participate in the activities that we have set up. That is in our planning, and we have an immense amount. If you can imagine that in the experience of the veterans engaged in leading this project, we've done a lot. It's hard to imagine, but we've done a lot in community building, transportation, if it's air transport, land transport, water transport, conservation, all of these, that's what we did in service, and now we want to do it in our communities.
And specifically what he's referring to in Montana is there's veteran benefits for transportation as well. So rather than requiring every participant to have their own vehicle because it's out there, and rather than, like, the neighbors don't want necessarily having Pioneer Valley Transit coming through, it might include small shuttle services with Pioneer Valley, but also creating or finding a way to pull together a transportation service that is veteran funded, and he's had experience in other places. But TBD and feedback, input welcome of solutions that you think we should be thinking about.
I just have a clarifying question about what's the public hearing on April 22nd? I don't understand.
It's the RFP.
So it's just like the release of the RFP. Okay.
Yes, sorry, Counselor, I think I forgot you could speak to, it's the 22nd, correct? Because is when the public speak portion will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And then a letter of support would be helpful for your RFP submission, I imagine, like your proposal submission to the city.
Yes. So that letter of proposal probably wouldn't be due until end of May ish. So, I know you might want to have it as another agenda item and a vote in the partnership in your meeting. So you have a little bit more time. But what we can do, if it helps, is provide you an official letter request for a letter of support.
Yeah, that would be great.
Any more detail, we'll send along these slides. Any more details, questions, Q&A that you want us to answer before making a vote, we're happy to do. And then we can also even, kind of draft as typical kind of a template letter for you to use if you want, and change however you want, but just trying to make it easy for you all as well.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Any other questions?
I mean, I have a couple things to add just in terms of the public hearing and the RFP. There are a couple interesting things that we put in the draft RFP, at least, or the draft referral for disposition, which establish the right of first refusal for the city. If they ever want to sell the property, the city will have first refusal. And the second is their local governing board will be required to have a local observer, like a non-voting observer from the city, to be a part of whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great detail. I mean, the models that I've seen in my own work in other areas, this community advisory board is what we had been planning on for the neighbor. We were just talking to Bees last night about having someone from, ag, bees, and affordable housing for sure. The question is, that's one that might be in the RFP. I think we're thinking about probably multiple voices from the community in different, pockets that we'd want to be able to hear from. So we'll figure that out. Certainly one is necessary, but we want to be able to get stewardship from multiple groups.
Great.
It's great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I look forward to the formal request and the PowerPoint slides, and then we can obviously talk about it at our next meeting about a support letter. But yeah, it seems likely. It seems like a great project.
It does seem like a great project.
We would love this building to be turned back to use. So
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. And, as we presented, this is a community project as well. It's not going to be just us trying to get this off the ground. So we appreciate all the support in that and really making this a wonderful, livable housing for the community.
Thanks. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for all the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and feel free to reach out. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, just comment on the unaffordable affordable housing thing that she
Yeah.
said. It's so real. At the Chapa Housing Leadership Academy, we had the Western Mass cohort, and we had someone from Rural Development Inc.
Oh, yeah.
In Franklin County
Mhm.
show us sort of a pro forma or the capital funding that they're using for this project out in I forget where it was, but 26 units, $670,000 a unit,
A unit.
like crazy.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Okay, so she'll send me the stuff and then we can talk about it again next month. Okay, that sounds great. In the interest of time, we have a few things on the agenda, but I think maybe we might be able to bounce one to next month. But I did want to provide a very quick update to those of you who have not been entrenched in the UMass hydrogeology project to know what happened, which is that, well, if you've read the meeting notes from March 5th, the UMass Hydrogeology Lab, which actually kind of you were in the meeting, is very interested in working with the city on a sort of groundwater recharge mapping project so that we can figure out really what the impact of development would be on the Aquifer Protection District. That's the good news. Patty Gambarini from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission was last week simultaneously writing a grant proposal on a drinking water study. The UMass scope would cost between like $50,000 and $70,000 for a 2-year study. Patty was able to include, I think, like $50,000 of that amount in her grant application that she submitted last week. We had a very successful meeting with the mayor the week before to request that the city contribute up to $25,000 towards the study because we had a gap. And also it was really helpful for Patty to have like community support and sort of some other additional funding that would support the project. So the mayor was very interested, very supportive.
The DPW director too.
Yeah, Greg Nuttleman was there. He was very supportive. It's very clear that Bob Newton has an enormous amount of respect and support the city. So Greg Nuttleman was like, if Bob thinks it's a good idea, then that sounds great to me. So Bob was there to answer some questions, but it actually was, it was much smoother than I thought it was going to be. They were like, okay.
Great.
So the mayor wrote a letter of support, or a letter of intent that they would contribute up to $25,000 that Patty was able to include with her grant application that was due on the 20th. The grant I don't think that they'll hear, I think, until September. Is that right, Allison? I think that's the MVP grant awards.
Later, October.
Yeah. So we probably won't know until the fall. And then we would have to do the study, which is a 2-year study. So it's like exciting, and then it's going to take a long time. But I think in the end could be a really valuable tool, which is sort of how we pitched it to the mayor, that we could use for other areas of the city. And like, really kind of, I think it's kind of cutting edge stuff for us to be thinking about. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, it ties into some of the other work that the city is looking to do in terms of master planning and housing production plan. And I know that it might not line up time-wise, but it definitely is worth making that case. And I also think topically it fits into the broader debate that's happening at the state level of like resource conservation versus housing abundance. And that's why I think that it'll be an interesting model that I think we can, I don't know, hang on our fridge.
Yeah.
Ben has his hand up. Yeah, Ben, go ahead.
Oh, hey everyone. I was just going to ask, are there other parts of the zoning recommendations we can move forward in the meantime that like don't touch the R40 district?
Yes, that's next on the agenda, but yes, that is something we want to talk about.
Oh,
because
I see that now. Yeah, okay.
this is going to take 2 years. And so at least, probably 2.5 to 3 years. And so obviously we don't want to just like sit at a standstill with the zoning recommendations until then.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about what the mayor mentioned in our meeting?
Yeah, so the mayor basically asked the same question of like, he had Jenna and I stay after and was just like, so, I love this idea with this groundwater study, gathering more information about what's could affect the aquifer, but then he made it really clear that he's on board with the general goals of the rest of the proposal in general. He wants to see more housing production. He wants to see, and I also think he's getting, as an elected leader in Massachusetts, they're all getting a lot of pressure from the governor's office to really push for zoning reform and all that stuff. So he made that clear to us that he's interested in hearing what we can start to move forward, that it doesn't affect the aquifer, and that we can sort of call him in on that work and lean on his support for that.
Did the planning, that public hearing at the planning board for sections 1 through 4 was canceled? Did it get rescheduled?
It got postponed due to the weather. It will be on April 21st.
A lot of stuff happening school vacation week. And Jana is on vacation. Okay, that's great. I'm going to be out of the country.
Okay.
Good for you.
So,
I mean, I can speak to the community character thing.
okay, that's fine. I feel bad, but I will be around.
Let's check in ahead of time and what day is that? A Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
We have like a whole presentation. We were like ready to go for the last one, but so we obviously you can use it. I
Maybe
just
you and I can get together and I'll see if I can make it to that too.
Oh yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So those pieces are still moving forward, but as we all know, those are like the less meaty sections. And so that's nice, but it doesn't get at really like housing production. So, I mean, I think I've heard a couple things, during the joint meeting with the rent study committee. We heard some feedback of like, duplexes might just be like a more palatable thing to move forward. The mayor mentioned R5, working on R5 modifications now. So I kind of look to you and Ben to like, what do you think would make the most sense given our constraint with the aquifer district, where we should do?
Excuse me.
And Ben, if you want to meet at some point, I don't know what your time looks like, and I also want to say again, congratulations. But I don't know what your time looks like these days, but I'm happy to find a time to meet and figure out what things we want to push forward.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely a little bit busier with the newborn, but I can probably find time to meet. I think I need to revisit the report and understand the different, like review like sections 1 through 4, and then understand like what is moving forward, and then what was remaining, and then what we can carve out. And I can take a look at that, and then we can follow up.
And I do also just want to give you kudos, because I was sharing our report with the Chapa Leadership Academy Western Mass cohort, and we had a senior planner from MHP, Katie Lacey, in the call, who was just there like observing. And when she saw our slides, she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible! Like, we're doing this work like we're doing consulting work for communities doing the same thing of like looking at their GIS systems and overlaying what the requirements are, and like taking before and afters of the zoning before." And
oh, nice.
yeah, that was, I think it was really groundbreaking, or not groundbreaking, but pioneering work.
Or just effective, effective visual, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so the two of you want to get together and then like think about what we want to move forward, and we can talk about that next month.
And I'll also say there is no ordinance committee has so much before it right now that I am not in any rush to get things on the agenda.
Okay. The other things we heard which I thought was interesting about things that we hadn't thought of, was not on our radar. So we had the 18 unit cap on our list, but not the number of buildings by parcel. And I thought Kevin Perrier made a really interesting point about how that can also limit the design and could lead to and I would be interested in your feedback too, but his argument seemed to be that if you could have more buildings on the parcel, they could be smaller and that might be less expensive than if you have to have these big, huge buildings on parcels.
And people might hate them less.
So I couldn't find that restriction. So not saying it's not in there. I just
was okay.
In the current zoning, it's not.
It didn't ring a bell, and then I went looking for it, wasn't able to find it. But again, I would have to really sit down and make sure I was thoroughly checking.
Okay. Well, maybe.
I mean, the units is definitely a thing, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he can just tell you where he
Found
Well, he
it.
works in other communities too, so I
We've been somewhere else.
might just
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's helpful context because I was like, oh, we didn't even know about that. And and then you had mentioned, Allison, during that meeting that the open space residential development, you had that on your radar for a housing for combination with the housing production plan update.
Yeah.
So that feels like not something we have to tackle if that's already something that's in the works.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be a whole section of the zoning that I'll have to.
Because that I also didn't know or realize. So that was just helpful, I thought. Okay. Well, that would be great if you guys could do that, and then we could come up with a few things that we want to move forward. Yes, and I guess we're not in a huge hurry because ordinance is busy, and I just don't want us to lose our momentum.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. So speaking of next month, our meeting is also scheduled for that same week, and I am away.
Where are you going?
Going to Grenada.
Nice. All right.
Hopefully we are able to get through the airport and fly there appropriately. Hoping it's all over by then. So do we want to meet another week? Like the 16th, which is the Thursday before? Or
I can't do that, but don't.
the 30th, which is the Thursday after, which would be the 5th Thursday. Which usually means there's not a lot of meeting issues. Hey, Sean.
Fine, Trudy.
No, come on in. Usually the 5th Thursday, there's not a lot of conflicts because there's not usually a 5th Thursday.
I could do
So
that.
the 30th.
Be the 30th.
I can do the 30th. I can't do the 23rd, the 16th.
I could tentatively do the 30th. I'm officiating the wedding the next day. A
Oh.
wedding the next day, so I might be tied up in something, but I will say tentative yes.
Okay. Ben, Shira, does the 30th work?
That should be good for me. Yeah.
I'll be at my annual Vegas work conference, but I should be able to. It would be at 6, which is at 3 in Vegas, right? So I should be able to tune in.
Okay.
How about you, Lindsay?
Oh, Lindsay's at soccer practice.
Lindsay's at a game thing.
I'm at soccer.
Well,
Yeah, there with the other Tatro. What date are we looking at?
Thursday, April 30th.
That should be good. Yeah, I'll be back from away.
Okay. Okay. It's April break. All right, so we're gonna do April 30th.
you don't have kids in the K through 12 system anymore.
I know, so you could go on vacation anytime you want.
If only.
There's also a few other, I had written this down on the agenda. What does it say? I wanted to look at the rest of our community, our calendar for the 2026.
November 26th and December 24th are not good dates to
Are
meet.
not good dates. And I also wondered about the summer, which we don't have to decide right now. It's always helpful, I
What if
think,
we just keep this item on the agenda?
and talk about it next time.
Uh-huh. Okay. Because it's,
So you ready to go?
well, not just that, but it's hard to plan November and December right now,
That's true. Okay, that's fine. I'll
And
keep
we
them.
might want to wait and see what we still have that's active for the summer.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep it on the agenda. But for right now, we'll reschedule to April 30th.
I may be gone on that May date. I'm not sure.
I think
Sorry,
that's,
what's the next thing upcoming for anything housing related?
the rescheduled planning board public hearing on sections 1 through 4 of the zoning recommendations is on April 21st.
At 6. You think? Yes.
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 Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think, anything else?
There are committee vacancies, but
We talked about that briefly when we were waiting for Heather.
okay.
So we have as a reminder, we have 2 committee vacancies. So I don't know.
And if we don't have a lot on the agenda in April, maybe we can talk about the kinds of representation we
Yes,
want.
we can. Yep. So we're going to talk about letter of support.
I know Eileen had too much to do to
Yes.
participate, but I still think that we could loop in one of those tenants union.
Yeah, maybe
I
it's somebody
really-
else. She just has a leadership role there, right?
Yes. Yeah. And she's like organizing the newsletter, which I actually brought
Oh.
copies of for people.
That's excellent. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it's really well done. I was very interested.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a second.
Second. Or actually, no, I'm not voting. Sorry.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, it
Aye.
is 7:25. Thank you, everybody.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.